welcome. I am Maietta, president of ResearchTalk. We are about to continue our series, Research Talks, Qualitative Scholar Conversations. We're here today with our guest of honor, Rob Kozinets, and he is talking to us about a course he's teaching this summer at our summer intensive titled Netnography Essentials, a structured approach to qualitative digital research. That will be offered Wednesday and Thursday, July 31st and August 1st.
You know, I was an ethnographer first. Like I was an ethnographer for like a year, and then it was like, okay, moving online now as I'm following where my field work takes me. You try and understand a culture in context, right? Like you're always looking at contexts. So I always think of when I'm doing my qualitative work, the embeddedness of what we're looking at. So every conversation, every word we're using here, even the notion of qualitative research itself is embedded in these cultural concepts, right? Like I kind of started out by talking about the culture that I'm used to in marketing, which is that I'm like a minority. Like I'm a very sort of, I have to do a lot of explaining to legitimize what I do among a group of people who see the legitimacy of numbers to the culture of science. And anything that is not hard and quantitative is a little bit, fuzzy and something not to be trusted. Well, those are all just examples of this embeddedness, right? This cultural context. With netnography, what happens, the way this translates is that we have this sort of a wide scope of social media, where at the beginning we'll look at a lot of different data. So at the beginning, as I'm going to talk about in the course, we'll scope out, generally we'll have a research question and then scope out multiple platforms and see what's going on across, what's happening on Discord, what's happening on Reddit, what's happening on TikTok, what's happening on Instagram, all of these different things. What are the hashtags? who are the big influencer players in this space, or, whatever it is that we're looking at. And then we start to dive down and maybe we're going to focus for a certain amount of time on a particular influencer or even on one post. And then we can get into that one post and its hashtags. We can analyze that. We can click through if there were links. We can look at an image. We can, do a deep semiotic dive into a particular image. And so it is this macroscope and this microscope connection that netnography really allows you to play in that space. And I call this, the dive into those specific things, I call it a deep data, like not looking at big data, but looking at deep data, looking for, rich cultural contexts that are elaborated through online posts, say, or it could be through immersive experience as well. And then we would unpack the various elements of that. And of course, it's like, Russian dolls or unpacking an onion. There's always layers and layers and layers within, and then linking that to some larger question often becomes, part of the fun. And I've prepared this course to take someone who really knows next to nothing or nothing at all about netnography and have them at the end, hopefully give them the tools and the courage to jump in there, jump in the water and do one and see how it goes. Because if you are a qualitative researcher and you understand qualitative research, you've got those data analysis tools pretty well in hand. This is really a focus on collection. It's a focus on data collection. So thinking about how you use that telescope, how you use that microscope, and what sort of things you need to keep in mind when you're interpreting it later, for sure, but not how to interpret it, just how to think about interpreting it and how to conduct that and do it in a way that is thorough, that's efficient, that's rigorous, and that's ethical.